Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Gridiron Uncensored. It's back with me, Trevor, Blake. Brendan is out doing his family thing. He'll be back Sunday night for sure for our live show and all of the reactions to the upcoming games. But we got a couple things going on in the college football world outside of the games. So let's first dive into we'll just talk about it. The biggest event outside of games for college football, early signing day period. There's been a lot of splashes, a lot of big things happening. And I know that Michigan, obviously the big news was Michigan flipping the number one overall recruit in the country from LSU. And ironically enough, LSU lost another recruit, from what I understand, if that's correct, Blake, to Alabama as well, right?
Yeah, we got a 6'5" wide receiver out of Las Vegas, Derek Meadows, flipping from LSU to Bama.
And he flipped just like a few days before early signing day, right? It was fairly well, maybe it wasn't that.
I think he flipped on signing day.
Did he flip on signing day?
Yeah, because it was rumored he was going to flip because I think he reopened his commitment or his recruiting. But
yeah,
I don't think Bama was expecting to get him. They was in his final, selection there, but I didn't even have him on the list. I think it was more of a surprise that we ended up picking him up yesterday.
Yeah,
but I'm good with it. We need it with we got Kobe Prentice leaving, going to the portal. So
yeah, we have no quarterbacks, so I'll take all the quarterbacks.
We got a pretty good quarterback too. Keelan Russell.
Yep, it was a pretty good quarterback, but I'm just going to name off. We're going to go into more detail probably Sunday, maybe next week. We'll talk when Brendan gets back. We'll kind of go deep into it. But the top 10 kind of goes for early Sunday as follows. Number 1, Texas. Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, Bama. Number 4, Oregon. Number 5, Ohio State. Number 6, Auburn. Michigan comes in at number 7. Texas A&M at 8. LSU at 9, and rounding out the top 10 is the Florida Gators. So really, SEC and Big Ten heavy. That's really what it is.
I'm actually really happy to see Florida.
I really am too. That means they've got some good momentum coming their way, and I like that.
Football's better when Florida is good, and I don't like Florida.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. So yeah, that kind of rounds that out. And another interesting topic, more or less than an actual topic, is that Bill Belichick, of all people, decided that he was going to take an interview. And apparently, I feel like UNC is like where coaches just go to die.
Mac Brown did it.
Mac Brown did, and now Bill Belichick's following suit with UNC of all places. Well, maybe not. He interviewed potentially. There's a rumor that he interviewed. Blake, what do you think about this? Do you think that's real, or do you think a whole lot of pandering going on?
Probably a little of both. The guy that was there before Mac Brown, was it Larry Fedora? Was that his name? Big muscle dude.
I think that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just curious. Bill Belichick going in, I don't know. I mean, the dude's aged. I mean, he ain't as old as Mac Brown, but I just don't see a multi-Super Bowl NFL coach
coaching UNC of all places.
It's weird to think about, but I mean, who knows? I guess it's possible. If he loves the game that much and misses it, I mean, there's got to be something.
I mean, there's got to be something too. I mean, I feel like at this point in time, with everything going on in the world, if it's a rumor, there's probably some truth to it. At least it's somewhat. They maybe have had a conversation. Maybe he hasn't actually interviewed, because I mean, do you really have to interview for the UNC job as Bill Belichick? I mean, are we really? Come on, UNC. Like, I mean, I know you're a decent program and everything. Well, you used to be at some point in time, whatever. But Bill Belichick should just get the job. If you're going to give it to him, just give it to him.
Like, it can't go worse.
It can't go worse. The guy knows his football, at least.
Oh, for sure.
Well, all right, Blake. I think that rounds out some fun topics. Let's just get right into
All
our
right.
games and the championship week. And as the title says, let chaos reign. So, first
Well,
game on the docket is Western Kentucky uh, at JSU, and I'll tell you what, man, some of these games are. I mean, I know I'm putting the pick'ems up right now, but I just wanted to. It's a point of reference for everybody. We're gonna go into each individual one, but I'll tell you what, man, some of these championship games are interesting.
yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's just talk about the ones that directly impact the playoff right out the gate. So
Okay.
first off, let's talk about UNLV and Boise State. What are you thinking about this one? Like, do you think that what UNLV has enough to basically ruin Boise State's season?
Well, they had the opportunity earlier in the season to do it, and I mean they was a drive away from pulling it off. They just could
Right.
not convert third downs in like the most crucial of moments, the first go around.
Yep.
But I feel like their offense and their defense has improved a lot since that game. And Boise, I mean, they've still got, I think, one of the best running games in the country. I mean,
Absolutely.
I know they don't play the toughest teams, but I mean, they can only do what you ask them to do, and they do it every week. Um, it's going to be
Yeah.
very hard to stop Genty no matter what. I mean, he's a workhorse, but something in my gut is just telling me UNLV is going to do it, and I really think they will. I like the team that they've got. And I just feel like Boise has been slipping the past few weeks. I mean, they've had close games with Wyoming, and something's telling me in my gut that UNLV is going to shock them, and they're going to end up being the representative for the group of five.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
I hope it does happen. I mean, just for
Look,
the chaos.
me and Blake are on the same page that we truly want all the chaos. Give us
Yeah.
all the chaos. 'Cause, oh, that'd be amazing. Um, there is a question that was posed to me earlier today by someone that watches the show who asked, "Do you think that SMU losing to Clemson puts Clemson in? Obviously, it puts Clemson in, but takes SMU out altogether, or do they stay
Yes.
in and replace someone?"
I think they will be out.
Okay,
And I think rightfully so.
I do too.
It's
Yeah, I
going to be the
agree.
same scenario as Miami. You've got a team with no top 25 wins, non-conference champion, and 2 losses. I
Right.
mean, granted, those 2 losses are two ranked teams, but you've still got to have good things on your resume. Your best thing on your resume cannot be a good loss. You still have to
Right.
have a quality win,
I would
and
agree
they
with that
just don't.
completely. And yeah, so that would be where I would stand on that as well. Is that I think SMU, it's a win or go home
Yeah.
uh situation for them for sure.
Yep.
Now, the Penn State and Oregon game, I would say it doesn't matter. I think that both of these teams are going to stay in no matter. Well, obviously the winner is going to
Yeah.
stay in regardless, but I think the loser is still staying in. I don't think that they're
Oh,
going
for
to find them.
sure.
I don't think they're going to find themselves outside of the top 12.
I
So
think
I
the
don't.
only playoff teams that are in jeopardy of falling out in a loss would be like Boise, uh, Iowa State, Arizona State. Obviously, one of them who the loser is obviously not in it, no matter
Yeah.
what. Um, the big three: the Penn State game, the Georgia game, and the Clemson game. The
Mhm.
only one I think in jeopardy would be the SMU. If they lose or Clemson loses, they're obviously not going to be in. Texas, Georgia, they'll both still be in. Penn State, Oregon, they'll both still be in. I have seen controversy over Georgia if they lose,
Yeah.
but then that's going to come down to the why are they punished for the extra game kind of thing, and
Mhm.
I'm kind of on board with that because I mean, what about the playoff teams that don't have to play that extra game? Why do they get to stay? So I mean, I see both sides of that. It was a bad formula having conference championships in a 12-team playoff. Because I mean, it's just unfair to some people. It just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I man, it's tough for me to say one way or the other, to be perfectly honest, because on one hand, I see the point. I 100% get the point. But at the same time, it's still a loss.
Oh no, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
So I mean, like I don't know. But that being said, I think in this particular case with regards to Georgia, I think it's a moot point. I don't think that the committee is going to put them all the way out of the top 12.
Right.
Now they may find themselves that they may not have the home game anymore if they lose. Which I think right now they would be slated to have the home game where they sit currently, I think. I'd have to go look at
right
the
now
bracket.
it's got them playing Indiana is the projection, and they would have them at home. Last I checked, unless that's changed.
So I would imagine that the only thing for Georgia that they would really have anything to worry about is losing home field advantage for that first game if they were to lose. I mean, if they were to win, they're going to get home field advantage anyway. But if they lose, I think that they potentially lose home field advantage for that first round game.
Yeah. I would still, like, in the perfect world, I want Georgia to win. I want Penn State to win. I'd like to see SMU up in there just because of who they are.
I want them in there just because of the season they've been able to put together.
Yeah. But as for the chaos, I feel like Clemson winning creates more of it. I think Arizona State winning their game creates more chaos. I want it. I want arguments. I want a shit show on Twitter. I want it all, or X, excuse me. I want it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, we're going to run down these picks real quick. Obviously, as you guys can all see, Brendan and Blake both took Jackson JSU. I took Western Kentucky on a flyer. Maybe it's because I used to live in Kentucky. I don't know. Whatever.
Speaking to that, Jacksonville State's quarterback is most likely out for this game.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and they just played actually in Western Kentucky won the game. Jacksonville State, without their quarterback, he's like the heart and soul of their running attack.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well that's going to go for them, but it is what it is.
Anyway, but yeah. Okay, so UNLV at Boise. Me and Brendan both took Boise, while Blake is rocking the UNLV pick. Let's see here. Tulane at Army. I am the only one that went with the Black Knights. Interesting. Tulane's a really good team, though, so it should be a really good game, I think. Yeah. I think it should be a really good game.
It could go either way. Tulane, they're a flippy-floppy team, so.
Yeah, we saw that when they got upset by Memphis, when Memphis took them out. Let's see here. Iowa State at Arizona State. I think this is a coin flip as well.
Yeah, I'm really going for Arizona State. I've always liked their program, and I like Scatabo. I like that last name. We need it in the playoffs.
We need it in the playoffs. All right. Yeah. Well, Brendan and Blake are both going with ASU. Yes, I agree, Colton. Man, Colton, look at you. You're agreeing with me on this one. You're agreeing with me here. I don't even know what's happening. This is opposite day, I think. For those of you who don't know, Colton never agrees with me on anything.
That's not true.
That's mostly true. Oh, where was I? All right, so Ohio at Miami of Ohio. That's not confusing at all.
It's going to be a battle.
Here. So yeah, it's a battle of Ohio, really. So yeah, me and Brendan both went Miami of Ohio, and Blake went with Ohio. I believe the Bobcats. All right, the big one. Yeah, I won't get used to it, Colton. Don't worry about it, man. Let's see here. Let's see. Georgia at Texas. Brendan and Blake went UGA. I went with University of Texas, rocking the horns for one last time. Oh man, that one's gonna be a great game to watch. It's
man, it's
man,
hard to
that's
beat a
gonna be
team
insane.
twice.
It
And
is,
Texas has them at home again. But
and I would.
if we get the Carson Beck that played the second half,
That's
I mean,
gonna be great. It's gonna be
it's going to
crazy.
be a good one. And I would like to see a little bit more from Texas offensive line. And like they've got to find a way to stretch the field against Georgia. Because if they can't, I don't see a way they get past them unless Georgia just completely chokes. But I mean, Texas has got to be able to push the ball down the field. They struggled with that in the first go around.
Yeah.
The real UT.
Oh man. But yeah, you're right though. UT, I don't know. I almost hope they play Manning instead of Ewers.
But Ewers will play. I mean, I don't see any way they don't start Ewers in the game. But
yeah,
I agree. I think Manning is a better quarterback.
He's a better quarterback. But like you said, they're not gonna take out the experience over the youngster. Yeah. That's just not gonna happen.
Yep.
Let's see here. Marshall at the Raging Cajuns. Brendan and I both took Louisiana. Blake went with Marshall. Ironically enough, I think this is the first week that none of us have ever. Well, no, not the first week, but this week none of us agreed on. We all went opposites. There was no like across the board favorite in this one. That's interesting.
I tried to pick the underdog in most of the games.
Yeah, you really did too, I guess. Yep. Didn't you? I didn't notice that.
But I'm just hoping for miracles at this point. I mean, my record is trash, but I'm playing catch up, so I'm just trying to get some points.
Yeah. So then we got Penn State at Oregon. Again, Brendan and I went with the favorites in Oregon, and Blake went with Penn State Nittany Lions.
Well, let me explain my Penn State pick.
The fact that you feel like you need to explain says everything.
Well, people on Twitter were going batshit over it, and the thing is they slowed the game down. Boise State did the same thing to Oregon and was in it there at the end. If you try to match Oregon like Ohio State did, you see what happens. I mean, they can score and they will score. I feel like Penn State has a better defensive front than Ohio State. I feel like they'll get more pressure. And even on the back end, I feel like they perform better than what Ohio State's have. And I know they lost to Ohio State, but that was typical James Franklin choking the game away there at the end. He had every opportunity to win that game, but they still lost.
Speaking of the good old James Franklin, Brendan from the family outings comes in hot with the question: will James Franklin backdoor a title? I mean,
it's possible. I like
possible.
Where Penn State is at. I really think they've got a good shot at taking Oregon out. They can run the ball fairly well, and like him or not, Aller has been fairly consistent this year. He's not a flashy quarterback by any stretch, but he's smart with the football and he makes plays when they're needed.
I really don't like that quarterback, but
I don't either. I mean,
I'm not a big fan of him, but you're right. I mean, they've put him in positions where he can succeed for the most part.
Yes. But yeah,
all right, I'm giggling about the chat, fellas. Everybody, I'm sorry. I can't help it. But no, I really just don't like Franklin. Yeah, I just don't like
either.
Him. I hate that guy. And you know the worst part about it is that he's gonna get himself like an extension because of this, because he's in it.
That's what he does. He does just enough.
I hope next year they get destroyed.
We'll see.
But all right, last but not least, Clemson at SMU. Now, this is an interesting game for me, I feel like, because in one hand, I really truly feel like Clemson is the more talented team, but I feel like SMU has just found ways to win all season long, especially in the early part of the season where we were really hating on SMU and the way they were playing. Like we thought they were playing sloppy. Well, they were playing very sloppy football that first 4 weeks of the season. Not very clean football, very, very close games against teams that they should not be that close with. And so, but yeah, me and Brendan both went SMU and Blake went with Clemson. Sorry, Blake, go ahead.
I don't know if they have the defense to be able to hold Clemson. And Clemson don't have a dynamic offense per se. They've got more talent. And I don't know. I don't know if SMU has enough to stop, which they could. I mean, Pittsburgh had them beat, and I feel like SMU's equal and better than Pittsburgh defensively.
Absolutely.
I just don't know. I would say Clemson, out of the whole playoff, is the second strongest team in orange behind Texas for sure.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah. So yeah, just that's pretty much our picks for this week's championship. What? So after that, Brendan can't help himself. He just has to keep chiming in.
Yeah. He misses us.
He misses us too much. He can't help it. He can't stay away. Oh man. But yeah, those are our picks. That's picks for the championship week. We're gonna go into looking at what Brendan, Blake, and I did for our grid locks. And here we go. Oh, Brendan went with ASU. Interesting. Okay. Blake went with UNLV, and I went with Army. I love it. Blake, what you want to quickly run down where you thought UNLV can certainly take it to Boise real quick?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I just I feel like they've improved on both sides of the ball throughout the season, and it is very difficult to beat a team 2 times in a year. And I feel like Boise's kind of fallen off offensively a little bit, or they've just been so reliant on Genty at the end of the season. They haven't really done anything flashy because they hadn't had to. But
and they may have to. They may have to.
Yeah, I feel like they got a good shot here.
I think UNLV's defense is going to make them have to be more one-dimensional on the other side of the coin, meaning they have to pass the ball a little bit more. For me, for the pick for Army, it's more of a wishful thinking thing that they just keep on rolling. But Tulane is a very good team, and it's going to be it'll be a very tough matchup for Army, I think. But if they come out on top, I think they'll come on top and get in 5 points. That would be nice to add to my point total for gridlocks.
Oh yeah,
I need it, or not. I wouldn't get 5 points, but I'd get a couple.
We've got to be getting close to Brendan.
I'm telling you, I got to be sniffing Brendan at some point in time because I feel like I've had a couple wins in a row that were pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah. So guys, that pretty much does it for tonight. We got a kind of a shorter episode tonight. Next show will be Sunday, probably 8:30, I would guess, to kind of recap the weekend's events. And Brendan will be back, so you don't have to listen to this guy talk too much. And then we'll go into that. We'll try and maybe dive into a little bit more on the early signing day period and what we think about some of the youngsters coming into some of the bigger programs, and we'll just kind of dive in. So Blake, you got anything?
I'm good, brother.
All right. Appreciate everybody joining us tonight, and we will see you guys Sunday night. Take care, everybody.
Thank y'all.